Knee pain isn't necessarily wear and tear, and it doesn't have to be a part of getting older. Knee pain is a clear sign of imbalance in your hips and/or your feet. And if you're trying to resolve it by stretching, you're probably just making things worse. Let me give you a new way to see your knees and demonstrate how to build the strength and stability you need to get out of pain and keep doing the things you love, like hiking, yoga, skiing, and pickleball. Knee pain is super frustrating, not just because of the pain, but because of the limitation. It can generate a lot of fear. You wonder, should I stop doing this, stop doing that? Am I doing more harm? These are smart questions. Today, I'm going to give you a fresh perspective on your knee. You'll understand why knee pain starts to show up in midlife, especially for women once they're over 40. Why stretching can do more harm than good, especially if you're a long-term yogi. 3 keys so you always know how to take care of your knees, and my 5 favorite exercises for strengthening and stabilizing your knees. Let's go. Your knees are often described as a hinge joint. But when you look at the architecture, the knees are more like a glider, and not a rocking chair, but a glider, because there's a frame. And the frame for your knees are your hips and your feet. If the frame is unbalanced in any way, there's grinding in the glider. You've probably experienced the same thing with your knees. If your hips are tight or weak, and for many of us, they're both, your knees will absorb the instability. If your feet are imbalanced, if they drop in or roll out, this will put twist and torque on your knees. So the pain is in your knee, but the knee is not the problem. This is huge because if you're trying to resolve the knee pain, you actually need to work somewhere else, on your hips and in your feet. Now that you have a new vision for your knees, let's talk about why this shows up in midlife. For women over 40, there are 2 major changes happening. One is estrogen is declining. Estrogen acts like a buffer against pain. It also influences our cartilage, connective tissue, muscle mass, and joint health. As estrogen declines, we often experience more pain, especially in the joints, because of the structural changes in the body, but also because estrogen tends to turn down the dial on pain. So your knee pain is not necessarily a sudden injury or damage. It's just that after midlife, you don't have as much wiggle room. Your body won't let you get away with as much instability or misalignment. The second major change is a decline in muscle mass. This starts in your 30s and speeds up after 40. Less muscle mass means less support for the knee joint, less shock absorption, and less wiggle room with misalignments and instability. So instead of thinking of your knee as worn out or worn down, consider your knee under supported. And if you've been doing yoga for years, you've been stretching the very muscles that you need to support and stabilize your knee. And that's why stretching often makes things worse. In midlife, tightness is not the enemy. Instability is. Let's get more specific. In yoga asana, you're often stretching your outer hips, stretching your quads, and releasing your glutes. These are the very muscles needed to stabilize your knee. Think of pigeon pose and all the hip openers, the forward bends to stretch your hamstrings, and the quad stretches and back bends. And then there are things like lotus pose or fire log, double pigeon, which ask for an incredible amount of flexibility in and around the knee. These are really questionable after 50. So rather than stretching these key muscles, invest time and energy in building them up, building strength in order to stabilize your knee. In particular, you want to strengthen the outer hips. Glute med and glute min are major stabilizers, not just for the knee, but your pelvis too. You need to strengthen your quads too, for your knee, but also these are major muscles that help you do the things you want to do, like hike up hills, make fast movements in pickleball or tennis, continue snowboarding or skiing. For many years in yoga, practitioners were told to release the glutes during back bends. Now, you don't want your butt squeezing, but your glutes are a major player in extending your pelvis forward. And glutes help stabilize your lower back and contribute to the stability for your knee. Similar with the hamstrings. We want the hamstrings engaged and active to help stabilize the knee and the lower back. All of these muscles are in and around the pelvis. In your lower legs and feet, you want to be grounded and steady. I encourage you to get most of your weight in your heels, be able to press through the big toe mound, and then there's like a smear of stability across the ball of your foot. If you do that, the foot will be well balanced and the arches of your feet will have spring, which act to absorb some of the stress and strain on your knee. Now, whether you're doing yoga, hiking, skiing, pickleball, tennis, any activity, here are 3 golden rules to protect your knee. Rule number 1, watch tracking. Remember that your knee is like a glider. You don't want wobbling, collapsing, or a lot of twisting. Another way to think of it is like a screen door. When it gets off track, it's hard to get it back and it's often uncomfortable. Like with the screen door, it's screechy and awkward and you usually need help. Similar with the knee. Once you notice that it's not tracking, it's time to get help, do exercises, do some strengthening and recalibrating. Number 2, remember it's a glider. You want ease and grace and smoothness and steadiness. No locking, no jamming, no squeezing, no tightness. I tell students to look for a hollow pocket behind their kneecap. Another metaphor is pulling out a drawer. If you lock the knee, it's like pulling the drawer out too far. It'll get very clunky once you try to bend or straighten it again. Rule number 3, your knees reflect your hips and feet. So when your knees start speaking to you, look upstream at the hips or downstream at the feet. If your hips are tight or weak, your knees will pay the price. And for most of us, they're a combination. Some things are tight, some things are weak, which is why we need to stabilize and balance the pelvis. If your feet collapse, your knee will have twist and torque on it. These golden rules are a way to assess the alignment of your knees. When you notice the knees are wobbly or the glide is not so smooth, you want to work on your hips or your feet, and here are my 5 favorite movements to do that. Number 1 is rolling the IT band. This works on the external rotators and a very special muscle called sartorius. Number 2 is rolling the inner thigh line. This also works on the sartorius, the other end of it, and it helps open up some of the restrictions, some of the catch people will feel when their knee is talking to them. Number 3, tracking movements. There are 2. One is lying down with a strap. The other is a rocking lunge. These train your knees to track. It can work out wobbling, especially from connective tissue. It can also help you identify imbalances. Is it coming from the hip or are you twisting and turning in your foot? Number 4, squats with a band so you activate the outer hips, glutes, hamstrings, and even a little bit of quads. This is strengthening but also functional. Shin flossing. This strengthens your lower legs and your ankles and helps you work out imbalances in your feet. If you want to do these in a full guided practice, do the knee pain relief practice with me next. Remember, knee pain is a signal. It's not necessarily wear and tear, a sign of sudden damage, or just a part of aging. It doesn't need to plague you or limit you. There is plenty that you can do, especially now that you have a new vision and understanding of your knee. Check out the knee pain relief practice next.